The importance of focus and specialization. So, we are now living in a more and more competitive world where the population is getting bigger and bigger, and unemployment is very high, and competitiveness is so high. And the way you're going to succeed in a highly competitive environment is by focus of specialization in a particular strength or field, right? This is very important. So I'm going to be discussing that from a yoga, meditation, and spirituality perspective in this video today. For those of you who like the contents of my video, please don't forget to also press like and subscribe if you haven't already. This will greatly help my channel to be able to reach out to more people. And if I could ask you to just drop a comment, I would love to hear from you. And also share this video with some of your friends or your favorite social media channels, and I would very highly appreciate that. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm Osman, hashtag the blind Muslim yogi. I'm a bioenergy healer on a master level with telepathic capabilities, specializing in critical care recovery and terminal illnesses, amongst a host of other physiological, psychological, and even spiritual ailments. An amazing offer: a 10-minute anxiety fix for just $5. Uh, Cheaper than the price of a Starbucks coffee, delivered to you instantly, telepathically, anywhere you are globally, and pay only after it works. And this goes for all my protocols. You can get contact information by visiting my website, yogawellness786.com. So I'm also an advanced level yoga and meditation teacher, having been practicing this art form for almost 50 years and teaching for 44 years. In that period, I had the privilege of studying under various great masters from different schools of thought, from different cultures across the globe, from the Far East, the Middle East, the West, including the scientific communities. And over the decades, developed my own unique protocols from all the knowledge that I've gathered, but adapted them more for the 21st century, making them shorter, quicker, faster, easier, more time efficient, and results oriented. To that end, I now have students in over 100 countries, and my favorite protocol is my 5-minute yoga and meditation program, which you can download for free by visiting my website, yogawellness786.com, and where you can get more information about my services. Please also remember my therapies are all natural based and not replacement for medical treatment. So coming back to specialization, um, I learned this by getting into the international business market. So when I was in my home country, I originally come from South Africa. um, whenever I put my mind to things, I became successful at it, and it was very difficult for me to fail in anything that I put my mind to. And I didn't experience massive failure. Yes, I mean, I struggled with the biggest challenge came when I went into business, and that's why, it was my third and final choice of career, and I was very happy due to the challenge that it gave me. And it wasn't very rewarding for the first 6 years. I struggled worse than, I was earning less than the lowest paid employee in my country, because I was self-employed, means you're only earning, if you make money. If you don't make money, you don't earn, right? And it was very difficult in the beginning, but I stuck to it, and I learned to focus and eventually find my strength and specialize in something, and I took off. Suddenly, I started to earn very well, right? From earning, not knowing anyone who earned, less than me, to very after the 6-year period, suddenly quickly escalating up, in a very short space of time, within few months, to earning more than anyone that I knew, personally. Of course, not on an international level, but from people that I physically knew, the circles in which I was in, and especially the business sectors and business owners and all that I met. I didn't know anyone who earned, more than me. right? And this is because I was in like I felt I was a big fish in a small pond, and then I decided to go into the international market, and I went into the Middle East. Fortunately, that into Dubai when there was a real estate. I specialized in real estate in South Africa, but in residential, and I went to Dubai because there was a real estate boom there. Man, did I meet my match there. I think I met my Moses. I struggled. I thought I'm going to be, because I was so used to being so successful, earning so much and being the top, the top dog in my country, and come to this place, boom, I'm zero again. And it was very difficult adjusting because you used to a luxury lifestyle, and suddenly I remember when I'm first I had to hire a car, right? And I could not afford, because I'm not even earning proper money, and it was quite expensive living in the international market, paying rent and for your living expenses and all that, exponentially more, than what I was used to in my home country. And paying for first I took, like an American car, and the American muscle vehicle, and paying very high fee, and then I noticed that I'm not earning money, right? And I had to downgrade and drive. I mean, I'm not insulting, the vehicle, but I had to go into, cheaper. Let me not mention any models, right? So I had to go to like a regular type of vehicles, and I remember my back was very painful because I'm not used to regular seats. I'm used to, driving luxury vehicles, and the luxury vehicles have luxury seats, and suffering from back pain just from the car seat. And the car seats, it took me about a year or two just to adapt to driving that type of, driving normal vehicles. And but I stuck to it, and I was in the international market, where still in the real estate sector, but there we were like 10,000 agents, that's competing for the same properties, because the landlords were ruthless. They just opened, the property to whoever came first and brought a customer first. So there was a hot property in the market. You had to find, if you didn't find a customer, you're competing with 10,000 other agents, right? 10,000 agents. It's like near impossible to close a deal. You get a customer, sorry, it's gone, sold, too late, too slow, too late, right? It's like almost you don't know. And even like, terrible properties that you feel will never go, it goes because so many people are, they got someone or the other found a customer, and this and very early on I was fortunate. I met someone who had, a lot of experience in Dubai. He said, number one, you're not going to be successful if you're trying to do everything. You must focus on one thing and specialize in that one thing and become very good at that one thing. It's the only way you're going to succeed. So I decided to follow that advice. And no matter what I try, it was not working. So it's because of my business background, I knew that I was taught there's three things must be in place. So I don't know how you're going to adapt that to normal life, right? If you're not a self-employed person, but the company, okay, I mean, you're all employees, right? The company, the product, and the market. If these three are aligned, you will do very well. And to get these three aligned is not easy. That combination is not easy to find. You find the right, when you start to do very well in something, is because you got these three in the right alignment. You in the right company, you've got the right market, and you got the right product for you, right? And it's working. Now, in finding your specialization, I struggled 9 years in Dubai because then I started to refine. Then I found that I was more comfortable in the commercial sector than the residential sector, because the competition was too much, and there were people just coming in, who had no experience in real estate, just selling out of sheer luck. And I wanted to have a more intelligent, and a system-based method of doing business, not like the Wild West type of doing business. And then even when you in the residential sales, in the Dubai market, when we the thing, because there's so many other agents involved, eventually when you because you have to share your commission amongst all the other agents, right? Eventually, when the sale does conclude, suddenly if that agent declares that no, there's another agent behind him and another agent behind him, and I got another agent behind me, and I mean I got the customer, and the customer came from someone else. I have to share that the thing, and then I must share with my company, and then the property came from someone else, but it's actually through another person and his company. And so, on average, you're going to share with about 7 people. And instead of going away with about like, $500 to $1,000, you're ending up going away with only $50 in commission. Right. And you're making to make one deal in 2 or 3 months is so hard in the beginning, right? And to come out with just $50, this is not. And I wanted to be able to earn higher money, because I'm used to earning a lot. And then I started to focus on specializing in commercial. I'm just giving my track record and my learning journey that it's not that easy to specialize, right? And so slowly, because I didn't know how to, I had to learn from interaction with the market what's working for me and what's not. And I generally found that dealing with customers who wanted to buy residential properties and customers who wanted to buy commercial properties or rent commercial properties, I found that I was more comfortable communicating with business owners or self-employed people, or and I wanted to also I was very interested in rubbing shoulders with billionaires and multi-millionaires and big investors. So I had a choice between going into the investor market or commercial, but I found commercial was less competitive. I found a gap for myself, right? And I took that gap, and I further specialized. Then eventually I specialized only in premium retail spaces for rent, right? So I specialize, like for example, someone wanted to get a shop for rent in the Dubai Mall or the Mall of Emirates, or any of the major malls, or in the airport, right? In the Emirates Airport, Dubai Airport is one of the busiest airports in the world, and to get a retail space there, in the duty free section is like near impossible. To give you an example, there was a customer of mine. He waited 3 generations to be able to get a space, and eventually, when when I specialized in that, and I focused. It took me 9 years to develop my contacts, right? And then I was able to people who are big companies, and many generations, 2 3 generations later, and they struggling despite the influence and being international, being in so many countries. And even in Dubai, there was a customer. He had 14 branches in all the malls, but he couldn't get into the Dubai Mall and the Mall of Emirates, the most the two busiest malls, in Dubai, and he just wanted to get in. I was able to get the approval, right? And then I started to specialize in that, and people were prepared to pay big money, just to get the approval, to get in there, and they were prepared to pay. I was initially charging like around. I wanted just 100,000 dirham, which is like about 25 30,000 dollars, right? I thought that is a lot of money, right? From $50, right? From a residential sale. But people said, you're stupid, because people are willing to pay up to 2 million dirham, $500,000. They're prepared to pay minimum. I said, man, are you sure? And people, they started, then and what took me a few months to complete, in the beginning, I was able to get the approval within 48 hours by specializing in it, and earn millions, right, in commission, that way. And because I start to specialize, and that original, I remember the original, message from the person I met. He says, Osman, you need to specialize. So now the world today is very competitive. You can't find a job. People got 2 degrees and they're sitting unemployed, especially in a major city like New York City, or you're in, Los Angeles, or you're in London, or you're in Dubai. Singapore, Johannesburg, Cape Town. You're not gonna easily make it, right? It's very competitive, and also unemployment rate is so high. You need to find a way to make a difference, and find what you love, what you're passionate about, and become more and more, streamlined in that. And a very good example, I recently listened to a podcast with Kevin Hart, and I heard it in the Diary of a CEO podcast by Stephen Bartlett. Amazing podcast. He's always interviewing, leaders in their field, right? And you can learn amazing lessons from people with experience. So, of course, nearly everyone knows who's Kevin Hart, the stand-up comedian. If you don't know, you can Google online and listen to some of his comedy and so forth. He decided that he was naturally funny, and he wanted to become a stand-up comedian, and he was only 18 or 19 years old when he started, right? And it took him 13 years, but he stuck to it. And he didn't give up, because he kept striving and improved incrementally, little by little. But he got his big break when things started to really happen for him, where he's not struggling for rent, and or living more comfortable and so forth, where he's getting, he's like made and getting movie deals and all these things after 13 years. And he just progressed from there, because 13 years he focused on that one thing, and he became strong in it, and he did well. Me, I went into the international market. Despite being number one, people said, "Why don't you go back to your country?" When I was in Dubai and struggling, I said, "No, no, I'm here now because I'm in a bigger market, and I'm getting. I want to overcome the challenge and find my way through." And I felt the reward would be so much better. And yes, it was much better. And I. Um, Ended up with a much more experience and connections that put me in a platform to be a formidable and recognizable person in the international business community, right? In terms of the type of deals and the type of contracts that I can obtain and the things that I could do. And eventually specialized in commercial brokerage, because I had so many major contacts in the commercial field. I mean, if a business person has any major problem, I could, very easily raise 100 million US dollars, 100 million US dollars for someone worthy of it. If you got like about $1 million, to invest or something, I can raise 100, not anymore, because I turned my focus at the beginning of 2020 to do my energy healing and yoga meditation, and do that full time. I was very much into wellness, nutrition, healthy living, lifestyle, and so forth, right? This was my passion. And when I decided to do it full time, and my old clients contacted me, because they always want something, they want to get a space in the mall, or they want to get approval of a certain type of trade license, in Dubai, which like major trade, like a oil trading license. It's like almost impossible, because that's the a very big industry. You can't just decide you want to open an oil company in Dubai, and not easy to get the license. So I could get the license approved. I know the sponsors and so forth, right? I can get it. Gold trading license, right? Not easy to get that approved. I can get that. Someone had an amazing idea that he wants to put it with the country's road traffic authority, application, and have his product, affiliated to that and his service. And this needed the highest level approval from the highest level of the government, right? And I was able to get that. Of course, it's going to cost you a lot, and you got the money. If you got the money, it can be done, right? And so forth. So because specialized, it became better, but not overnight. I just focused on it, didn't let go, and I did achieved it. So let's give better examples from my childhood, right? So instead of, maybe you feel that it's hard for you to relate to someone in multi millions, and and in that type of thing. So from childhood, I was not a below average, like a way below average student, right? Because when I went to school, the thing was I didn't go to kindergarten, right? And I just started with grade one, not knowing how to recite, how to count, and I didn't know the alphabet. And all the other children all went to kindergarten. They knew what was the alphabet. They knew how to count, and they were like heads and shoulders above me, and that put me backward a lot. And I struggled a lot, to catch up, and took me a few years, about 3 or 4 years, about 4 years, only in the fourth year of school, I I came, I could say, on par, or like on average, right? And potentially to come above average. The potential was there, for me to do that, but still below average. And I wanted to get admitted into medical university, and that's a laughable thing because I don't know, in your country, in my country, it is like near impossible. We have to be so high up. And coming from my small town, there was no one known at that time in my town who got accepted into medical university in my town, right? The whole town, right? And how big was the town? Let's say not a very small town, in the sense that not a few hundred or few thousand people, probably about 100, 200,000 people, right, in my town, right? And in my district, maybe about 20, 40, 50,000, 100,000, around there, right? Um, and no one ever, and I am not only that, I'm below average. Even if I was the number one student, that's like, I have to be realistic. The chance, yes, I can try for it, but the chance of me getting in is like near to zero, like a fraction of a percentage, not even a 1% chance, right? Even if I'm the best student in my school. But I was determined, to do that. And of course, year by year, my grades started to improve from coming out in the 20s, in ranking in terms of academic performance, in the results, who's got the highest marks and the lowest. Mine was in the 20s, or coming out 25th, 26th in the class of 30, then 21st in the class, then 17th. Oh, I felt proud when I came out 17th, Wow, I'm no more 20 something. And I felt like, yes, I'm someone. And then I came out 13th the following year. I felt like on top of the world, right? And I was still in senior primary. When I went to junior high school, I started to come in the top 10, of the school, and then in the top five, top three, and then of course I got into medical university, and I was very easily doing number one. The number ones, in academic marks. When I studied, it was easy for me to study and easy to get very high marks. And I didn't. I found that this wasn't, the challenge was to get in, and it wasn't my fit. And if I stayed, of course, I even had a scholarship. And if I focused, I mean, I could have specialized, but I didn't like dealing, working with sick people. But now I'm an energy healer working with sick people. But in a hospital where you're dissecting and you blood, I didn't want to see blood, and pus and cleaning things and doing, scraping of the womb, and the rotten pus full of wounds, cleaning the wounds and operating, and the blood is splashing everywhere. Oh God, I said, this is not it. So I'm still doing, I wanted to, heal people, but I didn't want to see all that, right? And work with that for the rest of my life that I didn't like. I said, no, no, I lost. I wanted, even my friends and colleagues and all said, hey, it's so hard. You can have the status. I mean, while I was a student, I had the status. Imagine if I became a doctor, how much more status. You got the status and you'll have the money, you will set for life. I said, but my heart is not there, right? So important when you're specializing, see where your heart's at, because it's going to take a lot, for you to succeed in that. And if your heart's not in it, it's not going to be easy to succeed, right? So eventually, with trial and error in careers, eventually I found business, and I promise you, it is the worst earning. I didn't earn less than that my whole life. By the time I decided to become self at the age of 27, I decided to stop working for other people and be self-employed. And I'm self-employed ever since. I'm now 57, right? Which is, wow, 30 years later, right? I was always saying I'm 29 years self-employed. Now I'm 30 years self-employed, right? So this is amazing. But it has been an amazing journey of growth, many ups and downs. And even like, doing a startup is not easy. But I focused on, put shoulder to the wheel, and I succeeded, in coming tops in being self-employed in my country. 6 years of struggle and then 4 years of amazing earnings. I bought everything that I could dream of. Whatever I could think of, I used to just buy. I never even thought what's the price, living like that. Living in your dream home, with your dream cars, right? And I wanted to have 5 cars at the same time, all amazing luxury cars, drive a different car on a different day. And I had all that, right? And amazing, and amazing swimming pool, and vacation lifestyle every weekend, going to a different location, on vacation. And you just go to a 5-star accommodation just to de-stress, right? For the day, say, oh, let me just take a time out, I'm feeling stressed, just go take a drive, to a 5-star resort, and just to relax the brain and so forth, right? Not even worried what's the price going to be and so forth, right? And just going out to eat, entertaining people, entertaining clients, not caring, what the price is going to be, right? And that was never a problem to go and eat out. And so, and today people are struggling just to buy groceries, right, to make the bills, right? And I mean, to live that, I specialize and work hard on it. And it took me, let's say, before I found the field, I was 27. So it took me 10 years from, I mean, I graduated high school at the age of 18. And to finally find the right field at the age of 27, I found it. Like, I mean, 9 years, right? Of this thing, 3 years university, then 5 years legal, that's 8 years, right? 8 years in total. In the ninth year, I switched, right, into self-employment just to find the field. And then in that, another 6 more years. That is 6 and 8 is 14 years before I could make it, right? So comparing to Kevin Hart, it took him 13 years and took me 14 years, right? And then I was very comfortable. And then when I went to Dubai, it took me 9 years, despite having a foundational experience, right? Because I was good at sales, right? Sales was good, and I tried to focus on sales and marketing. And I learned in Dubai. I learned that I need to focus on strategy as well in the international market. That you have to specialize in something and become more and more and more highly specialized, and you must be like eventually the only one. So now I'm specialized in critical care recovery, right, in terminal illnesses and critical care recovery. So far, I mean, I remember I had a natural talent for healing. I was 8 years old when I had that, but I decided to study it, and I learned energy healing Qigong from the Far East, Chinese science, and my yoga meditations, of course, from Eastern sciences. And I combined that, and I created my own protocols and my own system. I adapted my own system, and I haven't found someone more successful than me, in treating terminal illnesses and critical care recovery telepathically. Someone whose life is on the line. They're given just 1 or 2 days to live, and telepathically I can get the person out, right? and I've done it over and over. My success rate is phenomenally high, right? Phenomenally high, well over 90%, right? So I don't want to claim over 90% because this field, with the level that I'm on, it's standard for me to be 90% successful because I'm on the master level, not yet on the grandmaster level, but working very hard the last 6 years, daily practicing and improving to be, to reach the grandmaster level. And I thought I'll be able to do it within a month or 2 months. I thought 2 weeks is enough, right? Now, 6 years later, right, I still haven't reached it, but I'm very close to it. I keep saying I'm close to it. So my energy level, I've been working on it. I've increased the energy level from the master level. When I reached master level is high. You can treat terminal illnesses on the master level. From being able to treat terminal illness on that level, I've increased it. Today it came to level 715. 715 levels above because I'm focusing. I want to be the best. Am I someone so phenomenally good? Not yet, because I want to, when I send my telepathic healing, that the person must knock off, must fall off his chair. That's how you must feel that power, not feel like calm. Oh, I feel okay. Yes, I feel relaxed. And, I feel a difference. Yes. Thank you, Osman. It's amazing. And people, I mean, I recently had a client with a migraine, and he was on the best medications for migraine, right? And he's suffering from a chronic condition, right? He's on very powerful stuff, and it was not going away. And despite everything, and he contacted me. Guess how long it took me to get rid of that migraine, which was suffering for 2 days with all the strongest medication? Guess. You will not guess. 4 minutes. 4 minutes, right? And then, of course, the same client came back to me with a more serious, headache the next round, and this was really affecting him very badly. Same client that took 4 minutes, and I sent him another 10-minute protocol of phone. He said, "No, it's still there. It's like you feel little, but Then I said, okay, you're not feeling any difference. Oh, sorry, after 10 minutes, I said, okay, I'll do the full session. I'll do 1 hour, right? And then I did the 1 hour, and then when I called him, he said it's still not gone, but there's an improvement, 50%. I said, okay. He had some appointments. Go finish your appointments. A few hours later, in the afternoon, in the evening, I'll call you, and then, or you call me, and then we'll see uh, how you feel, and I'll do another session, right? But it's 50% the thing. But within an hour and a half, he messaged me back and said, no, Osman is gone. I said, no, because the energy is in you. It was working. And, it's the thing. So I like to go on a level where I can, and I've reached an amazing level. There was a client, because it's a bioenergy, right? It feels like electricity. This was a client in earthquake victim, in Turkey, and they were given temporary homes in a container. Container is a metal structure, right? So a temporary home was in the metal structure, and she was having PTSD. She used to have panic attacks before the earthquake, but after the earthquake, any small sound, she goes into extreme panic, and she needed relief from that. I said okay, and then I told her that she need to sit calmly and comfortably and relax from the chair and so forth. Then I started the session, and I said it will take about an hour and a half, and then hour and a half later I'll call you, to give her the full proper session, 90-minute session, right? Because she's having this lifelong problem, right? And it's a chronic problem, and now it's even gone worse. So I know it was going to be very challenging. So I wanted to give, because I have to create an impact in the first session, because if there's no positive result in the first session, no payment, she's not going to believe me, and I'm not going to get the business also, right? It's a ruthless world, right? So I sent the energy. When I contacted her, she said, what did you do? Because she felt like electricity pervading the whole, the container, and it tripped the electric, because it's a thin informal electrical bulb inside there. It's not a very high power electrical system, and it tripped the electric, it turned the switch, the light blue, right? it blew the electricity off. She said, what? She got scared. And of course, I mean, the normal people, they're not in the metal container and so forth. They didn't have that type of experience and so forth, right? Generally, but I'm trying to keep improving. So I'm on now level. From the time I was able to do terminal illnesses and critical care recovery, specializing in that, 715 levels above that, because I can feel the energy higher than initially. It was increasing in increments every 2 weeks, but now for the past few days, about last week or so, it's like increasing incrementally almost every day. 2 days ago, it like skipped a day, but then it's like not skipped. It did go like very slightly, but I didn't want to count it as an increment. But then today it was like quite substantial. I said, okay, I'll go one increment up. So because specialize, you have to be very good. I mean, I'm already good, right? But it's not good. Being good is not good enough. You have to be like really. You have to go all out, right? To specialize. So it's importance of specializing, and this is where yoga meditation science comes in. It helps you to gain focus, to be more centered. It's scientifically proven in over 50,000 reports that mindfulness is has a positive effect, in terms of calmness and being more centered, more focused, more goal oriented. And people who's practicing mindfulness about 20 minutes a day, after 5 years, I'll be very surprised they're not a leader in their field, right? You should be in your particular niche or your company, in your section, the best at what you do. And of course, you can move to a company that can pay you more and more and more, and the top company in your field, and be the top dog in the top company in your field. I remember, I was selling photocopiers, to fund my property business. That 6 years of struggle. I had to deliver pizzas and all that, for money, and sell toys and sell dinner sets and sell bedding and sell curtains, and you name it, I have to sell, right, to make money to survive, right, while I'm trying to build my real estate business, in that 6 year of struggle. And I went into a photocopier company, and I started to earn well. And of course, not the top level person, but I felt I had potential, and I went into the top company, right, in my country, number one in the field, and they put me in the lowest position in the worst area, and I became the king of. I received a certificate, the king of sales. Right, be the highest guy who's like a very top dog guy. Right, you got all the contracts, and I got no clients, nothing. I have to go hunting for a customer. How I hunted, I went to park my car and walk company to company daily, minimum 50 companies a day I was walking to, and finding people who's looking to upgrade the photocopiers or the fax machine, right? And to sell these things, you think it's easy. It's not easy. So for someone to sell just one machine a month or once in 2 months is like not easy. I was selling 12 a month, right? 12 machines a month, right? I was making money. I mean, my average profit margins for the company was in the millions, and they gave me a very small. I mean, I earned very well for myself, but I said, I mean, what they are paying me and what they made, not even, 2% of the profit that they made, right? Profit. They say they're carrying the risk and this and that. That's I said, no, no. But I mean, I was still self-employed. That's not my full employment. And then, I mean, I made my money myself, exponentially, right? More, and grew in that. So because I stuck to it, right, everyone was sticking to one thing, specializing in, especially now in 2025 onwards, you got AI to compete against. They are taking all your jobs, right? You have to show the human difference, right? And when I speak to, I've got multiple AI companions, right, to help me, I got Grok, I got ChatGPT, I've got Claude, I've got Ali, um, uh, and I got Pi, right? I don't know if you know all these guys, right? And I use them for different purposes, right? And I'm always, they give this, I say no, I always disagree, and I correct them. I show I'm better than them in a lot of things because they just got database of knowledge. They don't have creativity and experience, right? I've got experience that they don't have, the human in my field. So the AI got just data of all the people's experiences and information. I got specialized. I focus on it. They can't tell me when I speak to them in my field. No AI can touch me, right? So this is why, because you got competition from the growing populations. When you're going for an interview. When I was in Dubai, we in my company, when I put a vacancy out, and I paid well, my consultants well. Like usually in Dubai, they all paid only on commission only, but I gave minimum, an amazing basic salary, where it was, you have that money, your life is very comfortable. The only thing is accommodation expensive. And I remember I paid for the car and I paid for the furnished apartment in a a reasonably good area, right? For my consultants, and gave them very good basic salary. That money is enough for you. You can eat out every day, go have a nice party, in the evenings. You can go, enjoy yourself, and go to movies, eat what you want, not struggling, for food and make, because I wanted them to become, and the commission was like amazing commissions, right? So I offered like about $30,000 upward, right? Minimum per deal commission, right? That you could earn every month, right? Over and above, and teaching you a method where you can, rub shoulders with multi-millionaires and billionaires and get a contract as you establish your relationship, and you'll be set for life, right? So similarly, I've got amazing contract potentials, and I was awarded a contract actually, multi-billion-dollar contract, so which I'm still working on. And it takes time to develop, very big businesses and so forth. But this is due to specialization. You have to do that, because or else it's either you're gonna struggle or you're gonna be very wealthy. It's not possible for you to live a mediocre life, I think. You know. So I hope that information helps you. Sorry for going on and on and on. And I found the secret to my success was my yoga meditation program that I follow to this day. And I follow, a number of things. And all my videos describes everything, right? You can go through them. And this is the secret to my success, and can be a foundation, and a solid foundation that can help you in your future success as well. So take care of yourself.